modern horror has forgotten how to be scary. Not scary like jump scares. Oh, you got me. Like that startled me. I'm talking scary like you finish the movie, you turn the lights on, you're listening, you're checking corners. That used to be what horror was. And somewhere along the way, the genre kind of forgot its most basic tool, and that's atmosphere and dread and theater of the mind, the horror that you can't see. Hokum remembers that.
What the hell are we supposed to use, man? Harsh language?
Hey now.
Ahoy.
Welcome back, gentlemen, and welcome back, folks, to the Harsh Language Podcast. This is episode number 173 today.
Damn.
And we're talking about Hokum, the 2026 horror movie starring our boy Adam Scott. I was excited for this one. I wanted to go to the theaters to see it, but I didn't get around to it. And I got to say, I'm actually kind of Team Marvin now. Marvin, you kind of, every time Dusty and I complain about, like the way theaters like run movies now, how they like have them in theaters for like a week and then dump them out onto streaming. You kind of have argued like, hey, it's not that bad for people that don't want to go out to theaters. I'm kind of there now because
Yeah.
I don't know. I wanted to go see this, but like it's a choice that I didn't. You know what I mean? Some people don't have the choice; they have busy lives. I made a choice. I do not feel like going to the theater. So, and luckily, it's out now. So,
Yep.
Good for me, and good for us, and good for the audience because here we get to talk about it and see what's what. But I was excited to talk about it.
Well, it's so expensive these days. Like, I really only go to the theaters when I can catch a matinee or the $5 Tuesday movie, or they have like a secret screening once a month. You can go pay.
Secret.
They won't tell you what the movie is, but they'll tell you the runtime so you can kind of figure it out.
Fun.
And it's a cheaper rate too. Yeah, pretty good.
That's pretty good.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
I like that. I will say the rating has dropped since I watched the movie earlier this week, so that's interesting.
That is interesting.
Not by much, just like a 1/10 of a point, but it is.
It
is a drop, nevertheless. But yeah, looks like we got some very fun news to talk about. One of which that I've been fuming about all week. So we'll get to that promptly.
I'm gonna let you take that one. lead one.
Have it. Yep. But yeah, how have you guys been? How's your week's been?
Good.
Folks at home, hope you guys have had a good week.
Yeah, been pretty good. We had like a little pseudo family reunion yesterday with everyone, so that was cool.
Nice.
Didn't you just have one of those recently, like last summer?
Last summer, yeah.
A little bit a year ago.
I mean,
so it's
that's
about
not a
the time
reunion.
for
A
reunion. No, well,
I don't
yearly.
know. I have a very different, I think, family experience than a lot of people.
Dynamic. Sure,
but anyway,
yeah.
what were we saying?
Yeah, that's why I
Marvin?
said pseudo. It wasn't like an actual. So the one last year was an actual. This one was just kind of like a get together.
Yeah, okay.
Cookout, but a lot of people showed up.
So you calling it a reunion is inaccurate. Would you say that's the case?
I did say pseudo. Which
yeah, but just the word
leaving that part out
reunion
completely.
seems like you haven't met anybody or like haven't seen anybody in many, many years.
Oh, I see.
That's my idea of
maybe
reunion. Hey, listen, different strokes. You know what I'm saying? I say potato.
strokes.
You say potato. It is what it is.
Yes.
No,
You
but
use clay,
Reunion would mean
I don't.
cyclical, but the time between is not defined by anything. It could be a 3-week reunion, a 3-year
That's true.
reunion, or a 30-year reunion.
that is true. I'm being pedantic about it.
Exactly.
That is
Yes.
true.
Exactly. Thanks,
Well, that's fun.
Dusty.
Always nice to hang out with family. What'd you eat?
Oh, we had like the barbecue chicken. We had some pulled pork. We had
Nice.
some green beans, the
Hell
slaw.
You gotta
all
have the
that-
green beans
all
and
that
slaw.
Gotta
I
have
really
it.
don't actually. I don't.
What?
I'm
You really
proteins
don't.
and starches. I don't really do plants. too
You're not a
much.
bean supporter?
You don't do
No.
plants. Where do you get your fiber from?
Yeah.
This guy's been backed up for 3 weeks.
Oh no. No problems there.
Good to hear.
Good to hear. I'm glad.
Folks at home, eat your. Don't be like Dusty. Eat your
Don't
greens.
be like, yeah.
Eat your fruits and veggies. It's good for your colon. Your colon will thank you. I don't eat a lot of fruits. I mean, I do eat a lot of vegetables, but not a lot of fruit. Unfortunately, I gotta get.
I love fruit.
I gotta
You're
get
gonna
I eat
better
more
at
get
fruits than
scurvy.
vegetables. I really don't with vegetables at all.
Dan's gonna be walking around with scurvy in 2026.
Oh, I do eat
Crazy.
fruit, but it's just like it's not like an everyday thing for me. It should be.
Hey, doggy.
Yep, she's here. We have a storm in and
Ah,
out, so
you're-
she's freaking the fuck
Oh,
out.
my dog gets freaked out with the thunder.
This one's freaked out by everything. She's scared of like life. She's scared of the wind. She's scared of lights. She's scared
Winds howling.
No, she's literally scared of. I'm not even being like
Nah.
exaggerating.
Yeah.
She's scared of everything. She can't even go out to take a shit by herself. We have to escort her out. And even then she'll go and she'll like crouch and like squeeze like a little bit out and then just like run back. I'm just like, what the fuck?
Squeeze a little bit out.
Yeah, she doesn't like you have to be like, go
that
finish.
Just pissed me off.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Look at it. Scared. Scaredy cat. Yeah, you've been watching anything though, guys? What about that? We watching anything good?
Yeah.
Oh, you know me. I'm watching one of the best horror shows of the year. I'll just say that.
Perhaps
Not
ever.
saying much, I guess, but watching Widow's Bay.
Yep.
Caught up completely on Widow's Bay. What do you think? What did you think? Or Dusty, have you been watching Widow's Bay?
No, I haven't started this one yet. I'm watching some other things right now, but it's on the list. So I hope to get to it this summer.
You are in for a treat.
Yeah, Widow's Bay
It's
is
quite
great.
good.
The
Yeah.
last episode specifically was a good one for obvious reasons. I mean, I think it's not a spoiler to say every episode pulls from some sort of like legacy horror thing. This one was very, very influenced by Halloween, which was
It's so good.
it made me feel nice.
The shape.
Yeah. So
This
that
one was
cool.
it was good. I think I love everything they're doing in this show, and the comedy is so good, and the horror is pretty good too.
I made a comment on Reddit. It's not often I engage on Reddit.
Oh,
but-
wow, that's dangerous.
I know. But somebody said it's a horror comedy, and I kind of disagreed. I don't think it's a horror comedy. I think it's a horror that has funny things in it that like happens to be funny. A horror comedy, I think of like Tucker and Dale versus Evil. I don't know if you've seen that, Marvin. One of my favorite movies.
I haven't.
It's
Army
so
of Darkness.
fucking
Think of
funny.
like
Army of Darkness, Evil Dead 2. Those are horror comedies where they're like they are explicitly both genres, right?
Well,
What do you mean?
I think there can be.
I think Evil Dead 2
When you say
as an
that the
example,
genre horror comedy, I agree with you largely that the subgenre horror comedy should definitely have like, yes, this is going to make people laugh.
Well, here's what I'm trying to
But
say.
there's funny things in lots of horror movies, I guess.
No, absolutely. Yeah,
I'm being pedantic now.
Yes, you are. But no, like Evil Dead 2, I think is equally as scary as it is funny.
Right.
It works equally on both levels. Tucker and Dale is not really. I think Tucker and Dale is not scary, really, but it is a horror movie. Like it's crafted as a horror movie that is also a comedy. This isn't really that. This show is just like it's just got funny dialogue in it. So I wouldn't call it a horror comedy. I would just call it a horror that is just funny, personally. But again, maybe
Yeah, I mean it's like a spectrum.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Like
Yep. Everything's on a
they
spectrum.
definitely
these days.
are. They definitely are. Like there's intention there with the comedy, so you gotta factor that in too.
And it's less about what's happening too. There's no like humor in what's going on. It's just the dialogue. It's like they're just witty and like sarcastic. That's really where
it's not like Return of the Living Dead, which is like supposed to be a scary movie, but it's fucking hilarious. At least to me, it's hilarious.
It's ironically, funny.
Yeah. So like you wouldn't even put that one, but this one, I guess I feel like the horror comedies.
Yeah.
It's a wide, it's a wide spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess that begs the question then, is a movie like Scary Movie a horror comedy, or is it just a spoof of?
Well, that's where I was going to go next.
Okay.
I think that is more of a comedy horror, if you really want to get pedantic.
It's mostly just a comedy because it's a spoof of a horror comedy.
Like that movie leans comedy.
Yes. Okay.
Whereas Evil Dead 2 again leans horror.
Yes.
I think so. So that's kind of the way I would rate it.
I think I would agree.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're all in agreement. A first here on the Harsh Language Podcast.
Yep.
Have you been watching anything, Dusty?
Yeah, I watched the latest episode of Dutton Ranch. It's
actually he's
taking
fucking hooked.
interesting twist. Not hooked. It's not bad. It's not great.
Dusty's a completionist. He ain't gonna just go gentle into that good night.
And I started Spider-Man Noir.
Me too.
So I'm 4 or 5 episodes in.
I fell asleep through 2.5 episodes, so I mean 1.5 episodes, so I got to go back and watch episode 2 and 3. But I think it's really good, honestly.
Wait, now before you finish, are you watching it in color or black and white?
I did both. I watched. So
this is a good topic. I like this.
You're watching the first episode twice in both formats, and then the second. Wait, what do you gotta explain?
That's crazy.
I watched the first episode in color, and then I watched the second and third episodes in black and white.
Oh,
are you sticking black and white now?
I'll probably. So here's the thing: the way that we watch stuff, us guys, is it's a little bit difficult to track what's what. If you catch my drift, they're not labeled correctly all the time.
Oh yeah, so that was okay. And here I would like to just to expand upon that a little bit. I went to Amazon.
We
Prime.
pirate, guys. We do.
Hold on. Now,
everybody should pirate. I'm telling you, I'm coming clean.
I went to Amazon Prime because I have an Amazon Prime subscription.
I do too.
Because of the issue you're speaking of in the labeling. I was like, I'm just going to go use my Prime account. Easy enough, right? Yeah, they'll just pull it up. It says, hey, do you want to watch in advanced color or advanced black and white or whatever? I said black and white because that's what I was getting at. I started it in black and white. I'm going to watch it in black and white. I'm going to rewatch it in color.
So you're doing.
So I started it in black and white, and there's the ads, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's right. They put ads before everything. And then I started watching it, and I don't know what these are, 30, 40-minute episodes?
Yeah, about that.
There's about 6 ads between every episode. And so I got through the first episode, and I said, you know what? I would actually rather go through the list and try and find the actual one that says B and W or black and white, like every time I go to a new episode, than watch 6 or 7 or 8 ads every time I watch an episode. So I closed Amazon Prime, and I went back to the way that I've been watching things for the last, 20 years, which is sailing the seas.
I intended on watching it black and white, but when I clicked watch, the first episode that popped up happened to be color, and I was like, all right, whatever. I was interested to see how it looked in both, and they both look good. It's a good show, honestly. I mean, to be honest with you, it's not. Listen, trust me, I'm not one to praise Sony, but it's better than genuinely like most of the MCU shows on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I don't know if some of the editing choices are on purpose or if just poor choicing, but there's a couple things that I could nitpick. But so far, it's good.
There's always stuff that you could nitpick. That's no.
I mean, the opening scene, they show him from the back. You see Nick Cage from the back, right? And he's lighting a cigarette. And then the next shot, the camera's right in front of his face, and it's all smoke. And you see all the smoke for just like several seconds, and then his face appears. And then you show his hand putting the cigarette out in the ashtray. Who lights a cigarette to take one hit to put the out immediately after? Like
that's
that
actually
threw me out.
I've seen that.
Threw me out of the whole scene.
That's literally one of your most egregious Dusty gripes that I've ever heard. That is one of the silliest ones that you've come up with, I think.
I've seen that before in movies.
I know. I was like, is this a trope? Because like, as somebody who smokes and somebody who knows lots of people who smoke, I never in my entire life have ever seen in real life anybody light a cigarette, take one hit, and put that out. In 46 years of living, never seen it, but I have seen it done in movies a few times. So I'm wondering, is this like a noir trope that they put it on purpose? But it's just that thing that threw me out of the scene for a second. I was like, what the just happened?
In the 19th,
it looks cool as. I mean,
it does look cool as fuck.
Yeah, I guess.
And also,
we were playing a game yesterday at the family reunion. Like, it's like a agree versus disagree game. There's a team that agrees, a team that disagrees.
Oh, I'd be good at disagreeing.
the subject was smoking makes you look cool. I was on the agree team.
Hell yeah, it does.
And naturally, I just used movies, rappers.
You should have used me as an example. I was way cooler when I smoked cigarettes.
I should have brought up Dan.
Oh, I'm not sharing my screen for you guys. I forgot. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Hang on a second. What was I gonna say?
My shit. Oh wait, what the? Oh, he has to rejoin. That's right.
Yep. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was way cooler when I used to smoke cigarettes. But
I think you're just as cool, Dan, now.
Oh, thank you,
I was
Martin.
probably cooler when I didn't smoke cigarettes.
Now, here's the thing. Keep in mind, in the 1930s, cigarettes didn't cost $28 a pack. So you could just take a little hit and put it out. You don't need to smoke the shit down to the bone. Like when I was buying packs of cigarettes, and not wrong, I'm
New York is
every. I'm inhaling every molecule of tobacco in that cigarette. You bet your
Vegas
ass.
prices were crazy, and New York prices I know are crazy.
But yeah, no, Spider-Noir is actually really good. I'm surprised. Again, it's not often I praise Sony, but this is better than the vast majority of the MCU shows on Disney Plus so far. I think Nicolas Cage is he was a weird choice for this, but whatever, it's working.
Yeah.
I don't know why they decided to do like a Spider-Noir thing. Like I don't think that there was like I can't imagine the world was like clamoring for Spider-Noir. But it works. It's cool.
Was the world clamoring for Kraven the Hunter or Spider Woman?
Nope.
Or
Nope. What
was the other one they did? The vampire guy, Jared Leto's character. Oh,
Morbius.
Morbius, thank
it's
you.
It's Morbin
time. Morbius.
But it's doing really well. It has an 8.0 on IMDb. Yeah. I agree. It's really good. I'm excited to finish it. It looks good in both black and white and color. So I think that's pretty cool.
That is cool. I can't remember when we watched Chinatown. That was color, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was just trying to remember.
Yep.
Just because it's noir too.
Spider-Noir was several. Yeah, it was a limited series run, and they also did it with other characters, like I think Cyclops and maybe Wolverine and a couple other characters. I don't think they did the full universe.
No,
it wasn't a full overarching story. But this was I think this was an interesting choice for Sony. A great idea, and this is the kind of stories that I want filmmakers to tell. Is like these one-off short series. Like I still think Gambit and the Externals during the Apocalypse story is a great story to tell that you could tell with Gambit and Jubilee and everything else. But I'm Gambit stan, so whatever. But there are plenty of like limited series. There are plenty of limited series runs in the Marvel universe that they could tell in series form that have nothing to do with the cinematic universe per se. This is where their bread and butter, I think, should be. And Sony did it because they own the Spider-Man IP, obviously. But Marvel should be looking at this and be like, this is something that we could make use of.
Well, they did with Midnight, with Werewolf by Night. But the thing with Marvel is that they, again, as we've complained about ad nauseum at this point, like they're always trying to build to the next thing. So like, there's a fundamental flaw in Kevin Feige's creative brain, in that he seems to not be able to loosen the grip on this idea of like, we have to get to the next thing. We have to get to the next thing. We have to get to the next thing. One-offs are okay.
It's because it like doesn't hook you in. But in reality, if it's good, it does hook you in because you want to just stay subscribed. Obviously, they want to keep subscribers.
Right.
And if something is good, you want to stay subscribed to see the next good thing.
I mean, look at Wonder
You can
Man.
make a bunch of good one-offs. You don't have to make an Infinity Saga every time.
And Wonder Man is a great example of that because Wonder Man,
I forgot. It was so good.
It's so good.
Or the other great series they did, Marvel vs. Zombies. That's a limited
was
series.
good.
Yeah, but you're talking
that's
about
amazing.
that was
comic books. I'm talking about actual shows that they've produced, trying to compare.
No, that was an animated show. It was
It's
an animated
show that's out. Dan.
Oh yeah,
What do you
you're
mean?
right. No, I'm sorry. Wonder Man specifically, like I think the point I was trying to make is that Marvel Zombies, like we know is a one-off. Like we know it has nothing to do with anything, and it's fun and just like here, have this.
Oh,
Whereas
yeah.
Wonder Man is like, do
Loosely.
we know? We know it's connected, and it may,
up
if
in
it
the
gets
air.
a second season, it's going to connect. Like we as fans know, like he's
Yeah.
probably a mutant, ties into the mutant saga, all this stuff.
Yeah.
But it doesn't need a second season. If it just ended now, it doesn't change
Right.
its value or its quality. That was basically the point I was making. But,
No, that's a
but
great
you're
point.
absolutely
That's
right.
the beauty of those type of shows.
100%,
where,
yeah.
like, if it stands on its own, great. That's fantastic.
Right.
If it so happens to lead into the greater thing, then that's also welcome because it was done well. So
It's like a bonus.
they definitely need to do more stuff like that. Yeah, like where they could even potentially like bring it in like further down the line to
Right.
like,
Yeah, if you want to
let's bring
circle
this guy
back
in
and
3 years
revisit it
later or something or whatever.
somehow,
right? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
we need to do more of that.
So yeah, Spider-Noir. It's pretty good. I suggest
It
people
is.
watch it. Marvin, you should check it
Yeah.
out. Honestly,
I'm
It's,
excited.
I mean,
to
I
finish
was
it.
hyped about it. I don't know why I haven't started yet.
there's
but
just
I
a
will-
lot
I
to
will get on
watch,
it.
man. There's just so much to
Yeah.
watch.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But that being
True.
said, I haven't watched too much this past week, other than that. And
I was talking to Marvin
That's
about
about it.
Cape Fear before the show started. Are
Oh,
you
yeah?
interested in putting that
Oh,
one
yeah.
on? That's the Javier Bardem in place of De Niro.
maybe I don't know. I don't see
Apple
why
TV. You said
Yeah.
they don't put out bad stuff.
they don't.
That
I
is
know.
true.
I mean, I'll
I'm
get
kind of
to
excited to
but-
give it a try. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. But
I mean, why though?
it's
I don't
another
know why
thing
they
on the
made
watch
it.
list for me.
See, this is another issue that I have, and I think a lot of people are having with Hollywood right now. It's worth noting that, excuse me, a lot of times we're talking about like, and this isn't just us, it's like the general vibe of like the movie industry or the movie fandom and Hollywood in general. It's like, oh, movies are bad. Hollywood's dying. Nobody's going to theaters. Nobody's doing this. Nobody's doing that. Nobody's watching shit. Everything's bad. Everything sucks. And as we said on the last show, we talked about Obsession and Backrooms, 2 movies that are doing phenomenal in movie theaters, versus Mandalorian and Grogu, which is a bomb, versus a movie I'm going to talk about when we get to the news, He-Man, which I'm sorry, Masters of the Universe, which I was excited for because it looks good, but it's a bomb.
Bombed. Ooh.
So like, I think
Bomb
audience
in the box office term or like actual bad movie term?
Yeah.
'Cause-
box office term.
Are they-
Ed said it was good.
Oh, okay.
Shout out to
Oh,
Ed.
okay. Well, I trust Ed, so it's
I
I've
don't
heard
know.
good reviews. I've heard
Yeah.
good reviews about the movie, and I have not seen box office numbers, so that saddens me.
So point being is that like audiences are saying what they want. They want original stuff, right? And
True.
so I don't understand. And so a problem that I always have, I'm fine with reboots and remakes and things like that. Totally fine with it. But like, why don't you remake something that was bad and try to make it better? Like, hey, that
Right.
was a really good idea. It was just poorly executed. Let's see if we could improve
Remake-
on it.
Right.
Why
yeah.
remake Cape Fear? It's already a great movie. Like, I don't understand
Yeah,
why
well,
we
with-
need a
Right.
show. Now, that was a
I
really...
agree.
With that, I learned. I
Sorry,
mostly
go
agree. I mean, True Grit, I think, is one of the rare examples where you can look back and say, "Man, the original is great. I don't know how you're going to do it." And
Totally.
the remake,
It was a very different
is,
approach to it, though.
310 to Yuma, also known, but I guess Westerns, I don't know, maybe they hit a little different. You can kind of get away with that after so long. But yeah, I mean, we're going to be talking about a lot of this in the news. We're about reviving and burying franchises. This is going to be a little bit of theme as we get into things.
Right.
So
I mean, it's also
fascinating.
It's also worth noting that True Grit was like remade by a pair of the greatest filmmakers of all time.
Mm-hmm.
So like,
Sure.
You know, it's a little different. But anyway, that's a long-winded way of me saying, like, yeah, I'll probably watch it eventually, but like I'm not like going to rush out to watch Cape Fear because like I've seen it done well. So I don't know.
And I agree. I think they should remake more bad stuff.
Yeah.
It's like that one. What was the one horror movie that they remade? I don't know if it's out yet. It's the one about the couple that's like having a breakdown in their marriage or whatever that you guys said was really good. I think it was from the 90s or something.
Couple having a breakdown.
Yeah. What was it called? Anyway, you guys said that movie was amazing and could never be redone, but they are redoing it, right? So it's like, what's the point of this?
Oh,
that was my point, basically. Like, if something has already been done really well, like you said, why are we doing it again?
Yeah. That's really all. I mean,
obviously it's a money grab, but
like if I was an executive or a producer or something, I'd go looking around for stuff like that was terrible. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I mean, I can't think of anything off the top of my head under pressure like this, but like there's a lot of movies out there that are like, and we've watched a lot of them. How many times are we sitting here like, well, that was a cool idea, but not really executed great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
but there also is another substantial problem within Hollywood that we often talk about, and that's wrongly remaking something that is worthy of remaking. Like even the recent Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Sure, I mean it's been a while, remake it, but the way they made it and the decisions they made when remaking it ruined a good film. And we've talked about that with Star Wars, like with the last trilogy that they did. They kind of, they're tearing down franchises by trying to get away from the lore. With The Witcher, they're not going to reach they want to reach a wider audience, so the lore. And that's a problem with remakes as well, is they can't stick with what the fan base wants because they're greedy for more money and they want a wider audience.
Sure. I mean, there's also something. I mean, there is a distinction between a remake and just another interpretation of a source material.
Yes.
Like if The Witcher, for instance, is a book. So like if another Witcher show comes down the pike, like I'm not going to consider that a remake. It's just another interpretation of the book. And that to me is a little bit different when you're just picking, like if they were to make another Jaws, like, well, I guess Jaws is remade from is a book too, but like, I don't know, what's something, I don't know, Evil Dead. If they remade the first Evil Dead, did it need to be remade? Absolutely not. Like we had the version of it that was the better one. So like, why remake it? This is basically a good concept. Halloween. Why are we remaking Halloween? Perfect movie. Why are we remaking Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Why are we remaking all these? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So.
How long before they remake John Wick?
It seems.
I don't think.
Well, they're just going to keep that going with spin-offs and whatever.
That's the new thing too. It's like
it seems
we don't know why they remake it, but we could give you a spin-off of it.
Yeah, I don't even know why they put themselves in that like trap of following up. It's like following up this crazy performer that just went on. Like nobody wants to do that. Why would you even do that?
Yeah,
it's much easier to remake something that was bad.
There was a list. Pratt said no to replacing Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones. Why the would I want to do that? He has one of the greatest runs of a character of all time.
That's like career suicide if you do that.
There was a list of remakes better than the original. Some questionable things up here, but maybe some good ones. Yeah. One of them is The Thing.
No.
The Thing from Another World was...
Well, John Carpenter's The Thing was a remake of The Thing from Another World, but they're very, very different movies, like night and day. So I don't even know.
But it's a remake, right?
In title only, I would say. And I guess in concept loosely, but like John Carpenter like completely made it his own thing.
Scarface is up here.
Pun.
Yeah, there are
Dune
some.
is up here.
That was a good pun. Unintentional. Can't take credit for it. But anyway, let's move on to some news. Folks, leave a comment down below. What do you think about the state of remakes? Like, do you like them? Probably not. I would imagine most of our audience probably does not like remakes. Do you like Spider-Noir? Leave a comment down below. Let us know what's your thoughts on it. Are you watching it in color or in black and white? We should do a poll, actually. I'm going to put a poll up and see.
I wanted to put one out on Twitter, but I wasn't sure. I wanted to give people time to watch it first before.
Yeah, it's been about, what, a week or two at this point? It's been a good amount of time. Let's put a poll up and see. Are you watching it in black and white or are you watching it in color? I'd be interested to know. I'm going to take a guess. And I'm going to say...
weekly, right?
No, it's all out. They threw them all out at once.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to take a guess and say most people are watching it in color, but we'll see. Folks, Dusty used to be a newsman. He used to do video game journalism, and now he does all the muckraking for us and for you.
Mm-hmm.
So you're in the know about all the movie and entertainment news. I'm going to kick us off, though, because we were just talking about it. The box office for Masters of the Universe is in. The numbers are in, and they are not good. Masters of the Universe bombs harder than expected and earns only $7.3 million on Friday for an $11.7 million total opening. Its domestic debut right now might miss the $25 million mark, which is, of course, getting beaten by Obsession's fourth weekend of success. I'm not going to say I was excited for Masters of the Universe, but I was interested in seeing it. I think it looked pretty cool. It obviously has the Marvel formula for sure, but I had a hope in me that maybe it could have the same vibe as Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons, yeah. I think, was great. It stood on its own, but also still kind of used the Marvel formula. And I was hoping for this. Again, I said Ed saw it. He said it was good, but the chances of a sequel now are probably next to nothing. It has a 7.2 on IMDb, so people are enjoying it.
Right.
I'm not sure why it bombed. And again, that can only boil down to what I was saying before. Like, audiences are saying what they want, and it's not rehashed, remade, redone, rebooted, sequelized, spun off. They want original stuff.
Yeah.
Just simply look.
I just thought about the movie, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
It was very close to Obsession, which is why I was a little bit confused.
Mm-hmm.
The remake that's happening, we talked about it a few weeks ago, is Possession.
Oh, Possession, yes. Okay. Egregious.
They're remaking that. Margaret Qualley, I believe, is starring in it.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys were saying just that. Like, the original was so good. What can you possibly do to, follow it up?
Possession actually goes beyond my argument and takes it on to a whole new. Egregious. Yeah, it's probably the worst example of it because, you know what? I'm going to announce it here, folks. This month's Make Marvin Watch is going to be Possession.
Let's go.
All right, let's go.
I wasn't really sure what I was going to pick. I was kind of struggling, but we'll pick Possession. That's a good one.
That's a good one.
And you'll see, Marvin, when you watch it, you will understand. I'm just going to not say anything. I'll save it for that episode. Subscribe to the Harsh Language Podcast today, folks, so you know when that episode drops, when Marvin watches Possession for the first time in his life, in his 23 years.
23 years.
I'm kidding. You're like, what, 32 now? Something like that? I'm just kidding. So that one, you'll see when we watch it. I think I trust your judgment that you'll be able to see what I mean. That's the most egregious. It's the most egregious remake you'll probably ever get we'll ever get in our lives.
Crazy.
Because what went into that movie is so astonishing that it could never be recreated. And so why even do it?
Right.
So yeah, tune in later in the month, folks, for Marvin's first time watching Possession. So yeah, He-Man not doing great, or Masters of the Universe rather. Unfortunate, but whatever. What do you have for us this week, Dusty?
Okay, well, we have learned this week that Zack Snyder is taking the reins of the Escape from New York franchise, and Dan is not happy about it, guys.
Talking about egregious remakes.
Yeah. They just keep coming.
For a variety of reasons in this case.
Yeah. It's a
This
classic.
one was like a whammy for us in particular because of our
hatred.
Well,
yep, hatred's the right word.
Our hatred, but also that's where the intro was from, right?
Yep.
Right. So it's like a double. It's just like rubbing salt in the wound for us.
It's a triple whammy.
Also, yeah.
Like YouTube's screwing us over. We got to change our intro. Zack Snyder's also heading up the remake. This is crazy.
Folks,
The only way that news could be worse in regards of all of this would be like if we also found out that Zack Snyder was also making the Metal Gear Solid movie.
Jesus Christ. That would put me in the ground, honestly. I would die.
That's it.
I would fall over dead. Really, the only thing worse than this is if I found out Zack Snyder was like my dad. Like this guy.
Imagine.
For those of you that don't know, if you're not familiar with the show, I hate Zack Snyder, okay? I don't know him as a person, but I think he's a fucking weird dude. And I don't think he makes good movies. I think he is a decent director at best. He has a good eye for certain visuals.
Yep.
But beyond that, he is a hack, okay? And
he's very eccentric. Yeah.
My opinion mainly stems from his absolute abomination of a Superman movie, of movies having to do with the rest of the DC characters. And I didn't really have an opinion of him as a person until I saw his interview on Joe Rogan. Prior to that, there were some rumors circulating about his plans for the DC. Like he wanted during Superman's death after Batman v Superman, his idea was to have Bruce basically impregnate Lois. Yeah, the cat hates Zack Snyder. Yeah, he's a Snyder supporter. Maybe, I don't know.
Oh, hey,
nah, he's from the streets. He won't support Snyder. But when his plan was to have Lois get impregnated by Bruce during Superman's death, and then to have Clark come back and raise that child after Batman was to die or some shit. I don't know. But like that, to make Superman just like a cuck to Batman is very bizarre to me. There were rumors that, and again, I don't know how true any of this is, but there were rumors that one of the storylines he wanted for Wonder Woman was that she was to be, and Patty Jenkins like squashed it. Now that is egregious on multiple levels. How is an Amazonian who is
goddess, yeah,
who is a goddess, literally can, like, very close in power to Superman, be by a human man?
That's crazy.
That's number one, ridiculous. Second thing, how are you going to take literally one of humanity's greatest pop cultural icons, for just in general, but also for women especially, and have her get demoralized like that?
Yeah.
Like you need to
it's a super lazy too. Like I said, we don't know if it's like a rumor. I think
it's probably true. It's probably true.
It's such a lazy way to portray some type of trauma to like a woman character or a female character or whatever, right? Like it's like the most laziest thing you could think of.
Yeah. Oh, ever get raped?
For a woman to go through that. Yeah. Oh, like
it's like, bro, it's fucking Wonder Woman. What are you talking about? That's like having me fight Superman and winning. Like, what? What are you saying? And so, like, I could go on for days and days and days about what he did to butcher those characters, but it is what it is. And there are a lot of people that don't agree. They're wrong, but it is what it is.
They're wrong.
Yeah, no, they're just wrong. It's just like they want that edgy, like, they wear affliction shirts and shit. Yeah. They want the edge. And like, that's not what those characters are. So he had a horrific misunderstanding of those characters, and it showed. Then I saw him on Joe Rogan like a year ago, and this guy is like, he's like a child trapped in the mind of a man. He's talking about trapped in the body of a man. He's talking about like, yeah, I used to sneak like porn magazines and my mom didn't know, and I always gravitated towards like the more sexually explicit comic books when I was a kid, and and Joe Rogan's sitting there like a gorilla being like, oh yeah, like Beavis and Butthead talking about it. Zack Snyder said in this interview that when he was filming Watchmen, have you seen Watchmen, Marvin?
Yeah.
You know,
I haven't read it, but I've seen it.
You know how Rorschach's mom was a prostitute, and there's a flashback of him like watching her take the Johns into her room, and right. So that kid in that movie who plays young Rorschach is his son. It's his real son. he said to Joe Rogan, you could pull up the clip, it exists, I'm not making it up, that he wanted Rorschach's mom to be topless in that scene. And he like laughed about it. He's like, I wanted her to be topless. And Joe Rogan was like, yeah, really? And he was like, yeah, the studio wouldn't let me do it. The lawyers wouldn't let me do it because it was a child in the scene. And the only way they would have agreed to it is if I got his mother to play the role of Rorschach's mom. And so I asked her to do it, but she didn't want to do it. This asked his ex-wife or girlfriend or whoever, his child's mother, to be in a scene topless with her child. Purely so he could have a topless woman in the scene, just because.
Yeah.
Would it have added to the scene? No. Would it have added any value to anything? No. He just wanted a topless chick. This guy is a fucking...
He's freaked out. That's the definition of freaked
He is a
out,
weird edgelord hack, and that's why he attracts weird edgelords who wanted to watch Superman snap necks and be a dark, brooding character. Anyway, all that set up to say, Zack Snyder... He's going to ruin one of the greatest movies ever made by one of the greatest filmmakers ever made. There is no reason why Escape from New York needs a remake, and there is absolutely no reason why Zack Snyder should be the guy doing it. That is all. What are your thoughts, Dusty? Because you're as big of a John Carpenter fan as I. Well, maybe not as big, but you're a big John Carpenter fan.
No one is as big a fan as Dan of Jack. Which movie?
Escape from New York.
Escape from New York.
No, I haven't.
Dusty's so upset.
Change your mind, Dan? Change your mind.
I thought about doing Escape from New York, but we'll do Possession.
Yeah, we'll do it eventually. Maybe we'll do it when
gets closer.
Time comes out.
Yeah.
We'll time it up. I don't have the same malevolent resentment that you do towards Zack Snyder, but I do have.
You agree with most of my points, though.
Yes, I agree with a lot of your points, and I also have a clear disdain for some of his filmmaking choices and who he is as a person. So, I'm not excited about it.
No.
It could be literally.
I will not watch this.
Who's the?
I got to take a stand somewhere. Sorry, Dusty. Go ahead.
Bowler, the guy that makes the horror comedy. There's some horror filmmaker that makes terrible B-rate movie horrors. Can't remember his name. Anywho. I'd rather it be in anybody else's hands than Zack Snyder.
He's biting out, bro.
He bited out hard. Well, anyway.
I did for a second there. I tried to get the name.
If you hold near to, you know what? Anyway.
The name wasn't coming to me, so going to have to let it go.
Yeah.
But anyways, I don't know. I'm not excited about it. I don't.
How about you, Marvin?
It's not going to be good.
Marvin doesn't. He doesn't know.
I haven't seen the original, but it's Zack Snyder. I'm never interested for most things.
What was the movie he put out on Netflix that was like a bomb, and we watched the first one? It was awful. Like it was worse than we thought it was going to be.
Well, how could I forget the name of that?
Rebel Moon. There.
Yeah.
We all just like wiped it out of our memories.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Like he's just not a good filmmaker, man. Like he's not. Like I don't understand how he's developed this like cult of personality around himself, much like the president of the United States has, where like people don't care what this guy does. He could, they just love him. They love everything he does. Right. He's great. He's a visionary. He's a genius. He could do no wrong. Everything he says is right. And that's that. And, you can't really engage with people like that. But to give you an example of the type of fandom he has, I've been hanging out in a Twitch stream. A new streamer, small streamer, has 2 to 3 viewers or something like that. He happens to be from very close to where I live, and we've been just hanging out. I've been chatting in his stream. One of his friends comes into chat. I won't say the guy's name or I'm not gonna say the actual Twitch tag and dox him, but here's his name, right? I'm gonna put it in Discord. Don't say it. This is his Twitch name. So you could basically gather what type of person this is.
Holy shit, he's a NPC.
Yeah, literally. I read his Twitch bio, and it's like, I actually have to look it up because I don't want to misquote it because it's fucking hilarious. So I seen this name. I saw his behavior in the chat, and I'm just like, this guy is like not even, like you said, he's an NPC. His Twitch bio is for people who don't get offended easily, offensive and toxic streams for the sake of the memes and very dark humor, not for the faint of heart. Let me tell you something, brother. God. If you have to put not for the faint of heart in your Twitch bio, you ain't what you think you are. I promise you that.
No.
So we're talking in this Twitch chat the other day, this streamer guy, right? And I'm talking about Superman. And what do you know? This guy says, I'm not even joking. It's like you couldn't write it. He goes, I said something about James Gunn. He goes, isn't James Gunn the guy that pussified the DC? And
oh my God.
I was like, oh, you're one of those. And then I started talking about Zack Snyder. I was like, Zack Snyder's a fucking actor. He's like, no, Zack Snyder made DC edgy. Like, he made it cool. And I was just like,
oh my God.
Okay. So that's his fan base, and that's who he appeals to. And that's whatever. It is what it is.
Right.
Nothing we can do about it. But yeah, I am not excited for this movie. I don't know if we'll probably watch it here for the show, for the memes, but like, there's just no chance it's going to be good. 0% chance.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, sorry for the rant.
We got we have a Hokum interview with Mr. Damian McCarthy here.
Man, I love when you pull things up that I didn't know about in advance, and it aligns with exactly what I was going to talk about with the movie. That's great. Continue.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to go into this and give a quote at the end. It's kind of a little bit long, but he's talking about this in this interview. The story came from wanting to throw his hat into the haunted hotel subgenre. Movies like 1408, The Innkeeper, and The Shining. And these are likable movies that haven't really been done in a while, so why not? You mix in a little follow the antagonist through the night until sunrise, vis-a-vis Evil Dead 2, as well as some clever detective work, and you've got yourself a cast of characters to build a story around, like the writer, the groundskeeper, the bellhop, the bartender. So this is kind of how he approached this whole movie. He's like, I got the characters in the eye, I just have to build them out. I've liked this genre. It's cool. I can throw in some of this stuff.
Yep.
So that's kind of how he approached this. And he asked him about the character Ohm a little bit. He said the character Ohm was so much more cruel in the script, and it was a tightrope of making the character unlikable while still having the audience root for him, which I thought I actually liked that a lot. We could talk about that later once we get into the movie. But anywho, he goes on here, when asked about all the tropes and stuff within this movie and what makes his movie making a little bit different than what we've seen in horror movies, he says people feel that it's just a throwback to classic scary movies, really embracing tropes and all of these things that we know, where we have a sense of where the scare is coming. I actually really like that. I've always tried to do that. I'm such a fan, and I watch so many horror films. I'm always trying to step ahead of the filmmaker, going, okay, I see what he's doing. I see where he's trying to lure me into. And sometimes I go, okay, and now it's going to scare me. And sometimes I'm right. I love it when I'm wrong. I love it when a filmmaker takes my knowledge of horror films and weaponizes it against me. I've tried to do that with Hokum.
Preach.
Embracing even the classic horror script structure and setting of the haunted hotel and all these scares. People might have an idea what's going to happen, but then I completely tried to pull the rug out from under them. I know what you're expecting, but I'm going to scare you in a very different way because I love horror films. I have a head full of them. I've seen thousands. Now I'm going to see if I can catch people out with what I know.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully the audience will appreciate that, but it's not just the same old thing. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. I've got one more little quote at the end. Go ahead, Dan. I feel like...
No, nothing. Continue.
Okay, so...
I want to save it for the actual movie review.
Okay. Perfect. So that was his quote on this movie. So before we get into the movie, at the end of the interview, they ask him what he has next. This is what he had to say. He said he's really just going to marinate on this because he feels like he's really done something with this movie. But beyond that, I have two other scripts, and one I'm starting to look at a little bit now, but I'll be staying in the horror genre for a while. It's just something I enjoy and hopefully getting a little bit better at every time. You make a movie, you learn, and you go, I think I got another scare. I think I know how to do something else now. So that's kind of the plan, the vague plan.
Nice.
And that's all the news I have.
Cool. I think I mean, you guys are going to laugh because I didn't read this interview, nor did I know any of this information, but it very much aligns with my thoughts on the movie. But thank you for the news, Dusty. Appreciate you as usual. Folks, leave a comment down below on any of the things that we've covered. Give us your thoughts and opinions. Let's move on to this week's review. So
let's go.
We're talking about Hokum. We just caught a nice interview with director Damian McCarthy. And he echoed a lot of the things that I want to talk about with this movie. And in general, we've talked about this a lot on the podcast. Modern horror has forgotten how to be scary. Not scary like jump scares. Oh, you got me. Like that startled me. Anybody could pull off a jump scare. My dog jump scares me sometimes. She pops her head up under my arm when I'm sitting here. I'm talking scary like you finish the movie, you turn the lights on, you're not okay, you're listening, you're checking corners. The movie's still happening like inside of you after you watch it. That used to be what horror was. And somewhere along the way between this era of elevated horror that we've talked so much about, or the torture porn that is becoming increasingly more popular with movies like Terrifier, and the endless franchise reboots, the genre kind of forgot how it forgot its most basic tool that it ever had, really, and that's atmosphere and dread and theater of the mind, the horror that you can't see. Hokum remembers that. And I want to talk about exactly what it does because it's sitting at 89% on Rotten Tomatoes. It has a solid audience score, a solid critic score. Critics are calling it one of the best horror movies of the year. But I think they're actually underselling it because it's a direct and deliberate argument against the way horror has been made for like the last 15 years or so, maybe even longer. And the fact that it works as well as I think it does is proof that the genre has been wrong, or proof that audiences have been waiting for someone to sort of trust them again and trust that they don't need cheap scares to be scared. So let's get into it. I mean, do you generally, do you guys agree with what I'm talking about here with this movie, or did you kind of not get that?
I think I agree. I don't know if it's being undersold. I don't think it's, I'll just leave it at that, and then we can kind of get into it.
I mean, underrated
I think.
Go ahead.
Okay, no, I was just going to say, I think I like to make a clear distinction between like jump scares in movies and scary movies, because jump scares, I don't think they're supposed to be scary. They're supposed to startle you, which this is like where I get into semantics and people complain like, oh, did I scare you? I'm like, no, you startled me, but I'm not scared. Scary is a different feeling, and you're supposed to be drawn into scary. Like the jump scare of like, oh, there's a flashlight. Oh my gosh, so there's somebody on the stairs. So let me flashlight. Oh, they're gone. Like that wasn't like so startling, but it's like it's supposed to lure you into this feel. Oh, that's a little bit creepy. Now I'm starting to get a little scared. Yeah. Like, and the way he does it, I think, is lost on today's, because I think a little shock and awe and jump scares is what people lean into when they lean into the tropes, and they don't. Yeah. There's just no scary. Like you could startle me 100 times in a movie, or you could not, but it's not scary. It's just grotesque. And I know, and underrated, I am, Marvin, just to respond to what you said. I know it's something that it sounds weird when a movie is getting rated the way it is. Like I said, 89% on Rotten Tomatoes, high score on IMDb. But I don't know that, at least I've seen people talking about it in the way that I think that they should be. I mean, I know that sounds pretentious, but like people
they're not glazing it enough for you.
No, people are just saying it's scary, but they're not saying why. They're not really explaining why it's scary. And I had somebody who said to me, "Oh yeah, I watched Hokum last night. Like it was okay. Like it had atmosphere and it had mood. It was all right." And it's like, that's why it's scary. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's that slow burn approach. And oddly enough, a lot of the actual complaints I'm saying, audiences are a little bit split on it, despite the ratings. I see a lot of comments like, how did people are getting paid to praise this movie? I'm not getting paid, folks. I'm telling you right now. I wish I was, but they don't like the fact that it was slow and moody and all that stuff because they've been conditioned by what we've seen a lot. And so, I don't know. I think the things that people are criticizing it for is its greatest strength. But briefly, let's talk about it. It's directed by Damian McCarthy. As we said, it stars Adam Scott, our boy, a couple of other actors that I've never seen before. Probably, I think they're like Irish actors or something like that. And this is a pretty simple story about a writer who's a miserable and he takes a trip to Ireland to a quaint little hotel in the middle of nowhere where his parents once stayed. And his parents are dead, and he's bringing their ashes there to bury them because that's like the last place where they were like happy, I guess, or something like that. And that's it. The movie doesn't really get into anything else really about them other than one other thing, and that his mom was murdered, shot in the face, he says, and the person was too young to prosecute, but they should have hung the bastard. That's what he said. And then his dad sort of like...
Didn't even think about that until... You just said that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, call back.
And then after the mom died, the dad kind of flipped out and became like a drunk and whatever, a shitty father. And so he has reason to be miserable. He's a writer, and people know him, doesn't care. He doesn't like fans. He's
not a good writer.
He's a prick.
Not a good writer either.
And while he's at this hotel, we get drip-fed some... like Irish folklore and some stuff about this hotel that it's like haunted by a witch, and the story proceeds from there. I don't know how much we should say. I mean, spoilers, of course. So if you haven't seen the movie and you don't want to be spoiled, come back after you've watched it. I don't want to spoil too much about the movie, but there is one like plot, not a twist. It's just the plot takes a turn. And I think we have to talk about it. And so staying at this hotel, he buries his parents' ashes. He ends up hanging himself or attempting to hang himself. And a woman who works at the hotel, a nice woman that he had a nice conversation with, she finds him. Fiona finds him, saves him. He wakes up in the hospital, however long later, like a couple weeks later, goes back to the hotel to thank her and finds out that she has gone missing. And now... he sets out on like a quest to try to figure out what happened to her because he feels he owes it to her, essentially, is the story. And weird shit happens to him.
Great detective story.
It's a lot of things. And again, this is something that people were complaining about, but this movie is really 3 different stories sort of in one, which I thought worked. But let's go with, let's start with you guys. Marvin, just briefly, what'd you think about it?
Yeah. Briefly, I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I definitely thought he was an asshole and wasn't likable at first.
Yeah.
And grew on me a little bit, I guess. Yeah, it was a good movie. It was a good thriller.
Did you?
I don't think it was that scary, to be honest. I didn't really walk away feeling scared per se.
Okay.
Did I like what?
Did you like the slow burn nature of it? Like the slow like reveal of like the supernatural presence and the stuff that was going on?
Yes.
Or did you find that boring?
I did. I liked it. I always like when there's the supernatural aspect and then there's like the also bad person aspect that, that's happening at the same time. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
You had no hair on the back of your neck stand up moments or tingling or anything like that moments watching this movie? Like, ooh, that's creepy. Like, not just like
the soundtrack
mentally thinking it, like you didn't have that feeling of, because that's what I would call scary is like when you get like that, you get those tingles and you're like, ugh.
Got to look over your shoulder to make sure nothing's staring at you.
You didn't have any of those?
Maybe
at all
slightly, like some of the soundtrack provoked that, like when he's going up and down the elevator thing. I forgot what it's called. But that's probably about it, To be honest.
I mean, I largely agree with you. I wasn't super scared by this movie, but I think it did very well in producing a relatively creepy, scary environment because I felt.
Oh, for sure, yeah, I agree.
I was actually pretty creeped out by this movie. I'm not gonna lie
it's
to you.
creepy.
There's a door behind me that goes into another room that I don't keep lights on in there, and I kept the door open for like airflow purposes. I shut the door after the movie. So I was like, I don't even want to like know what's in the darkness in there. I'm not even joking. Like I know those things don't exist. I'm not scared of ghosts or anything like that. But it's just the fact that you can't see in there that's creepy.
Right.
And that's what this movie does so well. And that's what this movie does, like many old classic movies. Namely, my boy right there, The Shape. This movie reminded me a lot of Halloween. Now, maybe I'm not in like story or anything, just in the way that the scares were presented. Now, people are, again, criticizing this for being slow and cliche and like nothing happens and they're calling it boring and they're even complaining that story details don't get settled and stuff. Folks, you just described Halloween. Halloween only works. Halloween's not a scary movie, really, but Halloween works because Michael Myers, for the majority of that movie, is out in the periphery. She looks out her window. He's standing by the car. Oh, that was creepy. He drives by. Was that the guy that was just staring at me through the thing? Oh, he pops out behind a bush. Wait, he's not there now? What the fuck? Until he does show up, like, he's just very, like, elusive, right?
Yeah.
And it plays with you. It's psychological at times. Not, I mean, yeah, I know you don't, most people don't really see it that way, but it is. You're not really supposed to know if he's there or if Laurie is freaking out until he is there. Same thing when Tommy Doyle, like one of the most iconic scenes in the movie. My favorite shot probably in any movie ever is when Tommy looks out the window across the street and you just see the silhouette of him standing out at the other house. And that's the scare. And then Halloween. I don't want to dick suck Halloween all review, but when the movie comes home and ends, it reinforces that of like the scary thing is what you don't understand because he's gone after he gets shot, and you're like, wait, what?
For sure.
Like, what the fuck did what even just happened?
That's when open-ended is great.
Yes,
yeah, for sure.
And this movie, he echoed that in the article Dusty read in the last news piece. Is that he used a lot of those same techniques of storytelling and of shooting. Like the supernatural element in this movie is it's sort of like a ghost story, but also there's like a witch involved. It's like part of like Irish folklore, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But like you don't really see a lot in this movie. You hear stuff, you get glimpses of it in the shadows. Oh, what was that? Was that there? I rewound this movie a lot to like kind of like get a good look at what they showed.
Yeah.
And that's scary. The thing that you don't know is scary. It's like why are people scared of the ocean, right? A lot of people are scared of the ocean, not because of like sharks or jellyfish or whatever. It's because you can't see below you. You don't know what the fuck is there. That's scary.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now this movie does utilize a couple of jump scares that I thought were effective. I usually hate jump scares. Dusty, you were talking about jump scares a few minutes ago. Did the jump scares in this movie work for you or not really?
Well,
I actually liked them and thought they were tastefully done.
Yeah, most of them were like, okay, this one's coming. And so, that's okay. That's cool. Yeah. But I mean, I enjoyed them. I don't think any of them caught me off guard, I guess. Maybe.
They're not jump scares where they're like abrasive, where it's like, oh, like it gets you like that. It's more like just the way the camera is. Like the scene where he's like,
the lamp one was probably the best for me when he saw the lady on the stairs and he tilted the lamp up and then he tilted back down and she was standing behind him.
Yep.
That was probably like, that was probably one I wasn't expecting, you know?
Yeah, that was a good one. And also my favorite one was when he was in that like crawl space thing. Mm-hmm. And like he's blocking like what's over his shoulder, and then like he moves down, and then like you see the woman there, and was like, I thought that was very good. It wasn't really a jump scare, but it was creepy.
Yeah, there was I like that. Another one like that was when he was in the suite. Mm-hmm. I forgot exactly what he was doing, but his mom kind of like walked up behind him real quick for
it
a
was
second or so.
like fast too. She was like
Yeah.
It
on
was
his
fast.
ass. Yeah.
She was on him. Yeah.
Yeah,
And he
it was
like
creepy.
looks behind. Like it was good.
This and this movie does a lot of that. It utilizes, like I said, mood and atmosphere and lighting and sound very, very, very well. The
lighting was great.
Yeah, I thought it was very effective. It was very creepy. Like I was genuinely creeped out by it, and I do not say that a lot in horror movies.
Score was super creepy.
Yes, yeah. A lot
that was a standout.
The whining and like the crying you hear and like the moaning. It was like very, very creepy.
Yeah.
And so this was shot primarily within the hotel, which gives it like this claustrophobic feel, which I think is really cool. It was inspired by what's called the Ballygally Castle in Northern Ireland, which was a real 17th century castle where a Scottish lord imprisoned his wife, Lady Isabella, in the upper levels for failing to produce a male heir. She died escaping, and her spirit is said to haunt the building.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so that's kind of the skeletal structure of this movie. The hotel in this movie is said to be haunted by a witch, and there was a woman in the suite, the honeymoon suite, who got like trapped up there or something like that. What did you guys think?
That's interesting.
Yeah, what did you guys think of Adam Scott's character? This is probably the one weakness for me, is that he was like
he was too much of an asshole.
He was just an asshole for no reason, really. I mean, he had reason, but kind of didn't. And we've talked recently with movies like Send Help, and there was one other where I said this too. I think Miracle. I was like, well, none of the characters really give you an attachment. Like, I think that you need characters that you could root for, and I think it was risky to give us a main character like him. I understand that there's like a redemption there a little bit, but there kind of wasn't. And so I kind of wonder where you guys fall on that. Like it didn't ruin the movie for me, but like I didn't really give a shit what happened to him, to be honest. I mean, I did a little bit, but not really. I kind of wanted him to succeed in his task of figuring out what happened to Fiona. But if he died, I wouldn't have given a shit. I'll just say that. So where do you guys land on that?
I definitely started to feel for him once we found out the true backstory of what happened with his mom. That made me want to root for him a bit. I think that's where
before that you don't want to root for him at all, really.
Yeah, he was just an asshole. I was like, he's a terrible writer, and he's a
I hope he dies first. Go bellhop.
So neither of you were really affected by it?
What's that?
His character, like, did it weaken the movie for you in any way?
No. It was just like a slight annoyance thing. It didn't weaken it for me though.
Okay.
There were a couple of times where at first, before you kind of understand his sorrow, which is holy shit, like.
Yeah, we could talk about it. Spoilers. Yeah. He briefly reveals to Fiona when they're talking at the bar that his mother died. And again, that the kid was too young to be tried, and he should have been hung. Well, later on, during like a supernatural vision, we see that it was actually him as a child. He was playing with his father's gun, and the gun went off, and he shot his mother in the face. And his father hated him for it, not just because his dad like freaked out because his wife died. Like, it was the kid's fault. And so this is a trauma that he's been living with his whole life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you didn't have any help and you were just abused and hated for whatever happened
after the fact.
I can completely empathize with why he's an asshole after finding it out. But beforehand, it's like, this guy.
Yeah.
But I thought it was interesting. I'm going to circle back to that interview that we did, because I did read a couple snippets, because he did ask him about Ireland specifically and an American actor. And he said he loves his lore, and he wanted to be able to tell a film like that to American audiences. And he was able to do that through an American actor like Adam Scott. So like the opening sequences when you're driving up, like that's all his hometown. When all that cinematography of the opening scenes,
right?
Like he's like, that's where I grew up.
Oh wow,
it's beautiful.
And I wanted to show Americans how beautiful like that landscape is, but I also wanted to give an American person this part so that we could have a broader audience. But I thought the character that he wrote, I thought it was brilliant. Like you're not really supposed to like this guy, but you're supposed to root for him because something more nefarious is going on. And I think that's brilliant storytelling. And there's a lot of like real brilliant storytelling in this. Like in most of these horror movies we see lately, there's a supernatural entity and somehow there's 2-3 people maybe survive by the end of it. And they didn't know anything about this supernatural entity, but they figured all this shit out and were able to somehow kill it and defeat it and survive. Where in this is like, he gets a biscuit of a piece of information like, hey, and it's reasonable how he got it. The lady, she's works there, she's into Fiona, she works there, she's into the folklore, she's got the book, and he learns about the chalk circle just from that. And that's enough to get him to survive. Like he doesn't need to know enough to kill this witch or to make it, like it's just enough of a biscuit to make the story believable. And I think that's where like really the brilliant storytelling comes from, is making it believable, because a lot of what you get in horror, high fantasy stuff where people are dealing with supernatural things is they figure all this shit out and you're like, that's not really believable.
Well,
so I love this shit.
The movie does a two brilliant things with his character. One is that we're talking about, is the unlikability something that ruins the movie? I don't like unlikable characters, but in this movie, it's actually part of the horror's logic, because the folklore of this witch in Irish folklore, she like drags the sins of the wicked to the underworld, which we see at one point in the movie. And so the movie makes you question. Now, I didn't know the lore of this. I didn't know what the fuck it was. So you have to kind of know that, which I think is a little bit of a weakness. I would have liked a little bit of an explanation, so I kind of like got it. But that kind of makes you question whether this character,
besides the old man saying it,
did he describe it that way though? That she drags the sins of the. If she did, I missed it.
Oh, maybe he didn't say sins. I don't.
Like she exists to like bring the sinful into the underworld.
And
I don't remember if the movie said it. Again, if it did, I missed it. But anyway, it makes you question whether or not is a sinful person. Like he was a child who did a stupid thing and made a mistake and it was an accident. He thinks he's sinful because obviously he tries to kill himself. But like as the audience, we're sitting there like, does he deserve what's happening to him? That becomes like a central tension of the movie. But the other brilliant thing that the movie does with him is that it establishes this idea that psychedelics will make you see like the other world. Like that's how you could interact with and perceive the supernatural. At the end of the movie, they make you question whether any of this actually happened to him or not. Which I thought was really smart. Because as you guys know, like I don't believe in any of this shit, and I don't think any of you guys do either. So there's always this like, I'm always like removed a little bit from these types of movies because I just don't believe in any of it. And I thought that was a nice little cool thing because it like, I don't know, it just kind of made you question like, hey, did that really happen? And I like that. Similar Halloween vibes. The other thing that I really loved about this movie, and I don't know if I might be reaching a little bit, but this movie tells 3 different stories. It's his story and like how he killed his mom. Right. There is the story of like the witch, Fiona, kind of, but there's the story of Fiona and what happened to her. And the way I took it is that she's the main character of this movie. This is her story.
Fiona. Mm-hmm.
This is her story, and we're just experiencing it through his eyes.
I can see that.
Which I thought was really brilliant. Like, this is the story of her death and what happened to her. Yes, it's like kind of presented as like a side thing, but it's not. It's the whole driving point of the plot. And by the end of the movie, her story, and I don't understand people's criticisms of it. They're saying like the story was all over the place and disjointed and didn't have a resolution. There's a very clear resolution by the end of the movie. We understand what happened to her. We understand why.
Right, yeah.
And there is a resolution. There just is. Like, so I love that about this movie.
It's not the resolution people probably wanted because the guy,
it was pretty simple.
I don't know how much we want to spoil it, but
it was pretty simple what happened. It was just like, oh, okay, well, whatever.
Yeah.
You're watching.
2 people died. The other guys,
punished for it.
yeah.
You're watching the protagonist die through the eyes of an asshole who then survives the night and figures out what happened.
Right.
And then I thought the Jerry character, the homeless guy, he was also compelling because he had to kill his wife as like a mercy killing. She was sick. You don't really they don't tell you what happened, but like the cops are trying to question him for killing his wife, and he's like, "Yeah, I killed her. She was suffering, and I put her out of her misery." And that adds like a whole nother layer to the movie. So the movie was just like, I thought, very, very smart. And I was the whole time watching it, I was thinking about his previous movie that we also watched here on the channel. Go check it out if you hadn't. But Oddity, if you guys remember,
Oddity.
We were all a little bit lukewarm on that movie. We all agreed that it was like creepy, and we liked it for the most part, but it was lacking in some of like the story details.
Yeah. Yep.
And that movie is very similar to this, but it tried to explain too much and then fell short of its own explanation, which weakened it. This doesn't try to do that. This is just like, this happened, this happened, this happened. Now watch. That's it. Just like Halloween.
Yeah.
Guy breaks out of a mental institution, finds a mask and a suit and a knife, and this is what's happening. And that's that. And so this really, really worked for me. I loved I don't think there was anything in this movie that left me wanting more, or things that I felt could have been explained better, or any of that. Did you guys feel that way, or were you pretty much satisfied with overall the whole story that it was telling?
Yeah, I think it set out to tell a story, and it told it pretty well.
Yeah.
With giving us, like you said, like kind of like multiple storylines, which isn't easy to do. And I don't really see how people got confused.
I don't think it's confusion. I think it was just a dissatisfaction with the lack of information. And like, I guess like that it was just a simple sort of resolution.
This is the best. This reminds me of Gladys. Like, I don't need to know a whole lot about this witch. I don't need to know, like, the lore was,
I don't even need to know if she was even real, really real.
Yeah. The old man presented the story to the two boys where he kind of explains that they're dragging the people down to hell and things are ripping flesh off. And
because you could see it two ways. You could see it that this really happened.
Yeah.
Or that he was just like a piece of shit, miserable guy, tried to kill himself, was saved.
Yeah.
And through this whole experience, found grace within himself to forgive himself of what happened.
Right.
And that's that. That could have been what it was with under the effects of hallucinogens.
Shrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
and not only that, but the story of the Fiona and the guy that got her pregnant.
Yeah.
The witch thing could have just been made up completely, right? From him tripping balls or whatever. And the guy could have just got away and like ran off. Like,
he could have,
nobody, we think he got drugged to hell by a witch, but if the witch wasn't real, then the guy just gets away with killing the girl and the homeless guy.
It's all speculation. I mean, the honeymoon suite could have been closed for renovation. The owner never really says anything about it. You just hear it from the staff. The lady, the bartender, Fiona, she tells you that it's haunted. She's into witch folklore. She should just be pulling your leg. You don't like, it's all like, you don't know, it's shattered in mystery upon mystery.
Yeah.
So it's smart writing.
I think it's very smart. Yeah, I was just saying, I think it's a very, very smart movie. I hate to sound like that. I hate to be that.
Just don't get it.
I hate to be that pretentious and say like you just don't get it, but I think a lot of people who were negative on this movie just don't get it. Like I don't think they. It's not that there's nothing to get. I think you just missed what it was doing. Really, like I don't.
Right.
But that's where I think like the air of mystery is good.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
when the Gladys the witch, you don't need to know.
That's what I'm saying.
It doesn't matter.
And to bring it back home to my original point, horror as a genre has increasingly confused stimulation with fear. Jump scares, creature reveals, gore, escalating set pieces. These are all forms of stimulation. One of my favorite horror movies we've watched in recent years was Bring Her Back. I thought that movie was really effective, but it's not scary. It just does a lot of the things that I just described. Escalation, escalation. They create a physiological response, but physiological response is not the same as dread. Dread requires time and build up, and it requires the audience to invest enough into the world of the movie or the story and the character that the threat feels real and personal to you. You can't manufacture that in like a single scene. You have to build it up over the course of the movie. So when people are saying like, oh, this movie's fucking slow, well, it had to be effective.
Yeah. Right.
And most modern horror movies aren't interested in building that. It's interested in delivering it on demand, like a quick hit of a drug. And so,
right. But it doesn't last. Like,
right, exactly.
The scary thing about scary movies is that lasting.
That's what it's, yeah, that's exactly
effect.
what I said
Like,
in the beginning. This movie,
like how you said, like you look around, you're looking at shadows differently,
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
questioning
Right.
everything you believe in. Like that's the scary part of scary movies. Like when you go take a shower at night, you're like, oh shit, here we go.
But you also want, I don't know, but I think maybe some of these missed the mark on like the It Follows and the Smile and everything. There's no compelling villain in like the story arc, where in some of these, like, you know, you got your Friday the 13th and your Saws and all these horror movies that have compelling villains that people like to cheer for and like to see. Are we going to see another one? What's like Jigsaw from Saw is the last one I can think of that really captured audiences that they wanted more and more of. Is there a new one that we have that's coming out, or are we just going to get random, no linear, just whatever's scary? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I personally never rooted for Jigsaw. I think he was like,
I haven't seen the majority
from the
of those.
moment.
I haven't either. I'm just saying we don't. I don't know. We get a lot of good horror movies, but we haven't really seen one where I'm like, I want to see more of this character, this villain, this archetype to go on and keep killing. And I love. This is probably the best. I don't know. I guess
I'm not sure what you're trying to say.
Scary, but, I was just. I don't think he's going to go forward with a trilogy of this, but comparing.
Why he wanted this to be a trilogy? I'm confused of what you're saying. Comparing it to Saw.
I was comparing it to other. Okay, I was comparing it to movies that went on to spawn franchises.
Do you think this? No, I
and
don't
how we haven't. No, I don't. No, what I'm saying is I don't think this does, but we haven't seen anything like that in a long time, as well.
That doesn't go on to become franchise,
right?
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it has been a while.
It's frustrating. Is just all I'm saying. Even though it's as good as this is, it doesn't feel like anything that's going to be anything more than just this, which is great.
So you're saying you want franchise potential in movies? You
in
want
a horror movie? Yeah, I want another.
No,
absolutely.
I'm the opposite. I would rather just one and done. Tell your story.
One and done.
I don't want to see a sequel to Weapons. I don't want to see a sequel to this. I don't want to see, like, I don't think these types of movies need sequels personally. But that's just my own taste. I mean, I think it's a different type of thing when you're doing that. But I mean, like, what would even be a sequel? Like, just more of The Witch? Like, I don't even know like what that would even look like for something like this.
Well, it burned down, so I don't know. You have to go prequel, I guess, if you did anything.
I think this works as like, you know, maybe a spiritual successor to Oddity. It has a very similar story, in that sense. Obviously, it takes place in Ireland, connected with folklore and stuff like that. So maybe in that way, but
so you'd rather him if he finds a movie, I guess is really where I was trying to get. You'd rather him continue to make one-offs rather than, like, if he makes a film where there's a really compelling antagonist.
I would say that
I want to see more of this. You'd say, no, kill him off. Let it be over with. Don't make sequels.
I would lean in that direction, but I would also say I don't care. If the story calls for it, then yes. But like, I wouldn't force it. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
I guess.
Like if you say like, hey man, there's more of this to tell, fine. But like we're gonna get a Weapons prequel. We already know that has to do with Aunt Gladys. That could be interesting, but I don't think it's necessary because I think, like you said 5 minutes ago, Aunt Gladys works because we don't know a lot about her. And John Carpenter said it best when he in interviews about Halloween. Well, why'd you pick the mask? Why did you make it just stark white? And he says it's like, I wanted a blank slate that the audience could project their fears and thoughts onto. Right? Look at that right there. Like, I want that ambiguity. I want to walk the line of reality and supernatural with Michael Myers, and I think that's what this movie does, and I think it does it brilliantly. And it's been a really long time since we've seen that done. So, yeah, for those reasons, I love it. This is something that horror has been severely lacking in a long time. We've done multiple videos on it, like. And now finally, like this is the type of horror movie that I love. Like, I want more shit like this, and I don't need a sequel to this. Like, just tell your story, and tell your story to its conclusion. If it requires a sequel, fine. But like, I just want it to be a natural thing, an organic thing, not a forced
organic.
We made a lot of money thing.
I agree. Because Halloween was just that, right? Like, it was a one and done.
Yeah. Yeah,
basically, but it made so much money and it was so popular that they
brought him back for 17 movies.
Okay, so
same with Jason, same with Freddy.
Right.
I guess to circle back around to clarify on where you stand on this.
Scream.
You're okay with somebody writing a story that says, "This is my story. This is going to take 2 or 3 films. I can't do it in one film." You're okay with that,
of course, yeah.
But you're not okay with like, this is my story. It's one film. It's so successful. I could add more to it, but I didn't have that in mind. You don't want that because that usually spawns bad ideas or bad remakes. Is that why you don't like sequels?
I think usually in most cases, in examples that I've seen, when a sequel was not planned and then happens because the first thing was successful, they're almost never good.
Okay, that's fair. I can respect that.
Because you're forcing something that didn't, you're just forcing it. I mean, Halloween's a great example. John Carpenter was like forced to write the sequel. He's like, what am I going to do now? It's like, oh, okay, it's her brother and this, that. It's like, what? So, but yeah. So I said at the start, I think that this movie understands something about fear that most horror movies don't. I think the answer is patience. The film is patient. It trusts us as the audience to be scared without showing us everything. And this movie shows quite a bit, to be fair. It trusts that like the folklore's there in the periphery, that we don't really need to know it all, but like we can go seek it out for ourselves to enhance the experience after the fact. I think that's cool. And so, most horror films, like I said, don't trust their audience that much. Hokum does. I think that's why it works. I loved really everything about this movie. And I think it's, like I said earlier, I think it's underrated because it might be lost in the conversation of like Obsession and Backrooms because those movies are doing so well financially. I haven't heard that much chatter about Hokum other than like, it was good. And I think that's like kind of criminal. This is so far one of my favorite movies of the year, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
What other horror have we watched this year?
Nothing movies? This year.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
I still need to see Obsession, but
forget horror. This is one of my favorite movies of the year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, it's up there.
It's a good one.
Yeah. Do you guys have anything else to add before we wrap it up?
Nope.
Yeah, I largely agree with you, Dan. I don't think really there's anything wrong with this movie. Camera, the cinematography, the lighting, the directing, the writing, the acting. My only dusty gripe in this movie, the entire thing, because that's how I want to wrap it up, is the writing of the writing. Like when we started this out, I said he's a bad writer, and he literally is. Like that whole scene, like just burned me. Like he's apparently a knight in the sand, but he abandons all his armor. Okay, sure, I get that. It's hot, whatever. You don't abandon your sword if you're a knight, whatever. Yeah, it would have broken the bottle, but you did that. Okay, now you got this bottle, and you're going to break it over this kid. Brother, you can't put that, and you're trying to beat it on the sand, but just put it on the ground. You got your boots on still and stamp that bottle into a million pieces. Like, that was just like, I was like, are they really trying to make this guy not be able to? He's got a boot on. He can break that bottle, right? I don't know, just that whole scene that made me feel like he's just a really, really bad writer because I felt terrible watching that. I could write a better scene. It's just that's my only complaint about the whole movie.
Fair enough.
Otherwise, Loved it.
Another weird, Dusty gripe, but all right. What up, Marvin? Anything else you want to add?
No. I mean,
Did
I
you
love
not like
Adam
how
Scott.
the
Want to see him
dumb
more in
worked, or?
What do you mean?
Oh no,
I'm just trying to make fun of the Dusty gripe. I was like,
that's supernatural. That's
yeah.
supernatural stuff. He could have been tripping on mushrooms. We don't know.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
So anything else to add, Marvin?
No. That's it for me.
Well, it had a 7.0 when I watched the movie last night. It dropped to a 6.9. Still very high. I'm gonna bump it up. Honestly, it's not a perfect movie by any stretch. Like there's things that you could clean up always, right? But it was pretty close to a perfect movie. I would give this a 9 if I'm being honest.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let Dusty go first.
I mean, I'll give it a bump. I'm not gonna give it that high of a bump. I'll give it an 8 though. I thought it was great.
Okay.
Yeah. It's worth a rewatch. I'm gonna look forward to rewatching it.
Yeah, I'm actually right there with the 8 for this one.
Okay. I'll say one thing too. The ending made me a little emotional because, like,
really,
well, yeah, because when you realize that the movie is about, like, it's Fiona's movie, and it's her story, like, it's really sad what happened to her. Like, she was a nice person.
Right.
She was a good person that just like got
true.
Whatever. And we don't even really know what happened to her. That's the other cool thing about it. Like, we know what happened, but we don't really know what happened, Right.
We know she died, but we
don't know under what circumstances.
Really how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh man, we didn't even talk about the brilliance of like the recording that we get, like communication from her. Yeah. And we don't know if that's real or not. Like,
right. Yeah.
This movie's really brilliant. I think honestly, if you watch it multiple times, I think you would uncover, you would discover a lot of stuff that you might have missed the first time. Like, I'm excited to watch this one again.
Even thinking about it, like he could have just poisoned her and dropped her down the well, and he found her. And then if he found her, was he hallucinating?
Right.
So many questions on questions.
So there you have it, folks. Hokum. There's our thoughts. What are yours? Leave them down below if you've seen the movie. If you haven't, go check it out. It's on Amazon right now. I think you could rent it, or it's still in theaters, I'm pretty sure. But I think this is a must-watch. Again, one of my favorite movies of the year. So far, it's a short year. It's only June.
Yep.
But great movie. Leave your thoughts down below. Let us know. We use, for those of you, if it's your first time here, we don't really believe in ratings. That we think that's like pretentious and stupid. We just do it as a joke, and we compare our ratings to IMDb. That's like our source of truth. Yep. So if you've seen the movie, leave your rating down below. What would you rate this? We do this once a week, and we post our schedule for the month on Discord. You can find the link to Discord down below at harshlanguage.tv. It has all our links. Joining Discord is free. We don't ping you with a bunch of shit. We just post new videos and like stuff that we're looking at on the internet, like news shit, trailers, things like that. But if you want to watch along with us, you can find our schedule there. Last week was Marvin's first time watching Miracle. That was Dusty's pick for the month. Yeah. For those of you that don't know, once a month, Dusty and I take turns picking a movie to make Marvin watch that we think he should have seen that he hasn't, because he hasn't seen a lot of them. And so that was Miracle, considering the Stanley Cup playoffs are currently going on, what a game last night. Did you watch that game, Dusty? Holy.
I did not, no. I fell asleep early. I had an early day yesterday.
Yeah. So if you want to watch Marvin's first time watching Miracle, the link will be down below. You can check that out. When I say down below, I mean like right here on the screen. And if you want to check out more horror movies that we've covered here on the podcast, there's been a lot of them. There will be a playlist linked as well. But we appreciate you hanging out if you're on Spotify or Apple or over on YouTube. Anywhere you are, we appreciate having you. We will catch you next week. And you guys have a good one.
See ya.
Hasta.